Hey friends, welcome back. We just had a storm move through and I am so thankful. It has been a very dry summer here in South Carolina. It has not been our usual. So any rain we get right now makes me want to dance for joy. The problem with that is everything's now wet and I gotta feed the animals. Get my gloves on, hopefully I don't, get poison ivy again. I'm trying to remember to wear my gloves. I don't know if y'all can see behind me, right there, but I moved the rabbit tractors into the garden because the weeds were getting crazy out of hand in the garden. So I went ahead and moved them over into the garden the other day just to kind of eat down some of the things. Hopefully it works out pretty well. I can't really just turn the goats loose in there, and our chickens stay pinned up. So, gotta do what I gotta do. First rabbit on our list is Mr. Jackson. I think he's always the first. He may be my favorite. Shh. Don't tell the other ones. Jackson is the sweetest rabbit buck. He is so incredibly kind. He doesn't try to run away or anything. Like, I can get him out and set him down and he don't go anywhere. Probably not something I should do in a black shirt, but Mr. Jackson here is our new breeding buck. He will be added to the breeding roster, and that is his purpose. He is a meat rabbit. He is a breeding meat rabbit. He's a Tamook breed, and we added him to our line just for like heat resistance because they can handle the heat much better than other breeds of rabbits. He is so incredibly sweet. He is also our local little superstar. So Mr. Jackson here is going to be the front cover of my book. I took this amazing picture over there in the trees of him on the ground eating some weeds with the trees behind him, and it is so beautiful. And so he is actually going to be the cover of my new book, Feeding Meat Rabbits for Free. I am so excited about that book that's coming out in October. It's going to be life-changing for people, I'm telling you. But I love that our own Jackson is the cover of the book because I have a feeling he's going to do big things for our rabbit program, and he has thrived on doing forage diet. He loves it. He will eat fresh forage over pellets. He will eat fresh forage over dry hay. I mean, he just loves this diet. And he is doing so good. And I look forward to all of the beautiful babies that Mr. Jackson gives me. Ain't that right, bud? So we're going to kick off this fun little game today as we feed the animals. And I'm going to go through and tell you if they are purpose or pet. Sarah over at A Homesteading Hustle is putting this together, and everybody's going through and showing the different animals they have on their homestead and why they are on the homestead. And so we will kick it off with Jackson, my favorite, the first one to feed. He is a purpose animal. Jackson is a meat animal. He is a meat breeding animal. That is his purpose on our homestead. He is incredibly sweet and kind, and I love to be able to pet him, and he may get a little extra spoiling when it comes to food time. He gets his favorites more than anybody else. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, he has a purpose to play, and when he successfully completes that purpose, or he outlives that purpose, then he will also go to freezer camp. Sorry, buddy. Black shirt. White rabbit, not always my best option, but I love sneaking in a few little hugs and pets with him when I can, and today just happened to be the day. So let's get him some goodies picked and we will get him fed. Ready to move? Can y'all see the bare patch of grasses here where they were just moved through? Purpose. These animals play a purpose on our homestead. So Cadbury, this one right here on the end by itself, is a breeding buck. He will breed for this season, and then he will be retired to freezer camp. He doesn't do as good on this forage diet. Like, he's healthy, and he just doesn't seem to enjoy it as much as Jackson does. And we always want to breed animals that thrive on the diet we're giving them, not just survive on it. So while Cadbury has been awesome, he has thrown us some good kits. This will be his last breeding season, and I will choose a buck from his line to replace him in the future for next year. These other 3 over here are literally just waiting until the next butcher day. They should have all been butchered by now, but because I handpick their foods, we're not wasting any money by growing them out any longer. It doesn't take me that much longer to forage for 3 more rabbits. So I just keep feeding them until we have our next litters and they're ready to be butchered. And then we'll do them all together. They had brothers that were supposed to have been butchered with them, but those were our troublemaking rabbits that kept getting out of their rabbit tractor. And so they got butchered early, but these 3 were staying in their tractor, so we let them go. So they lived a little longer. Be alright. It'd be alright. All of our meat rabbits are purpose. And they do a really good job at it. Like, come on. Yes, that is awesome. You can see back here where they definitely have not been yet. That's where we're going to start on collecting food today. So another purpose our rabbits have here on our homestead is they eat our garden waste. Now it's only waste if you waste it. And I try not to waste a single thing. So, our bean plants that are basically done producing will now turn into rabbit feed, chicken feed, and goat feed. I do go through and remove any beans that are on the plant, like this one. If they are damaged beyond repair, they go to the chickens. If they are salvageable, then they go inside and I cook them. So, the book I mentioned, and if you follow me on Instagram, you already know about this, but all of our rabbits are fed for free here on our homestead. Currently, we only have 9 rabbits. I've got 4 in here, plus Jackson is 5, and then 4 does in our breeder colony. But as soon as it starts cooling off a little, that number will increase very, very fast. And we will have a whole lot more rabbits here on our homestead, and they will still all be fed from our homestead. They use up our weeds, so as I go through and weed my garden, rabbit feed. As we go through and cut the grasses, rabbit feed. As I go through and prune the trees, rabbit feed. Like, our rabbits consume so much from our homestead, so we don't waste anything. So, again, another purpose for rabbits. Also, one thing rabbits are really, really good at is pooping. Rabbit manure is gold for the garden. So our rabbits, generally in the rabbit colony, I will take and scoop their poop out once a month, once every other month, just depending on where we're at the point. And then feed it over into the chicken pen, and they will compost it for me, which you don't have to compost rabbit poop, but I don't need piles and piles of it sitting around either. And then these guys in the rabbit tractor are moving around our property, and they are helping me to turn this raw land that was farmed for way too long and then let go crazy and wild and turn into a forest that's had nutrients just ripped out of it for years and years and years as it was cotton fields. They're helping me put all of that back into the soil. They are literally boosting our soil by going around and eating our weeds down and just living their life as they grow for meat. They are full of purpose, and everybody should have rabbits on their homestead. Jackson actually didn't get fed first tonight, but shh, don't tell him. You don't have to know that. I often tell people that I feed my rabbits 2 large handfuls of food per adult rabbit. This is what I mean by a large handful. This thing is like overflowing. So 1 handful is probably about the size of a rabbit, and I just do 2 of those. Works out great for them. Here, bud. So according to my camera, it took me about a minute to harvest another large handful out here in my garden just picking weeds. So here's his second one, and then Jackson's done for the night. Is that yummy, dude? So we only feed our rabbits once a day in the evening. That's all the food he gets for the day. You can see from his tractor, he's got little bits of green down there at the bottom. But other than that, he eats all his food and he's happy as can be. He living the life. Ain't that right, buddy? Living the life. I had already harvested all of these foods, so they were ready to go and waiting on us. So I bet you can't guess what our next animal is. Did you say rabbit? So next on the list is our rabbit colony. We have 4 does in here. These are our breeder female rabbits. Some of the most important rabbits on our homestead because they give us all the babies. All right, back up, girl. So we have 4 breeder rabbits in here, 4 breeder does. We do not keep a buck with our does. Every single one of them has a purpose. They were all kept for a reason. And they are the next line of rabbits for us. You can see where Kittens has been cutting grass over here. We have this random green spot over here. It looks a lot closer to the road than it is. I do try to keep to the back edge of it so that I don't get like car fumes and stuff on their food, but it happens probably, I'm sure. Now, alternatively, I could use this grass for the rabbits, but our rabbits actually prefer wild, random weeds and not a bunch of grass. I don't know, they're weird. Okay. It took me not even 5 minutes. Got a whole basket full of weeds. Well, grasses and weeds. So our goats are completely fed on forage. Also, everything I bring to them or what they eat where they rotate on pasture. They get moved about twice a week. Hey girls. It is definitely time to get them out of this area. As you can see, they've eaten all of the green away. Can you see this back green strip back here? That's what all of this looked like 2 days ago. They literally ate all of the weeds that were out here, plus the additional stuff that I bring to them twice a day. They get twice a day feedings. And this is what it looks like. We move them twice a week. Now, our goats here are serving a purpose. This is Dolly and Reba. They're Nubian goats. They are about 6 months old now. They will be bred starting next spring-ish time for milk production. So their babies will be meat animals for us, and then they will produce dairy for us. But until that time, they still have a purpose. We still put them to work. They eat our brush. They're helping to clear land for us. All of this over here is completely open from them and their hard work at eating all of the stuff so that I don't have to feed them any kind of goat pellets. They clear our land. Their manure drops to the soil. It fertilizes our land. I bring them grass stuff, grass seeds and stuff, and then they eat that, and then the seeds come out in their stool and reproduce grasses. So they actually play a very, very important role on our homestead of clearing land and revitalizing our soil. And then in the future, they will also provide babies for us, which will provide meat in the future, and they will provide dairy for us, which will give dairy to our family. Milks, cheeses, stuff like that. So definitely purpose animals. I enjoy having our goats. I think they're a lot of fun. They are Dolly and Reba. They do sing to us. They are Nubians. When they are hungry, they can be very, very loud. I usually keep them farther away from the RV than like right here. But the grass areas, weeds and everything up here had just gotten so out of control this summer that I'm having to rotate them through. So they're a little closer, but it's still not a bad situation. We really appreciate the work they do for us, so to me, it's totally worth it. So our dog Chance here is totally a pet. He does not serve a purpose on our property other than being a pet. Sorry, Chancey boy. So Mr. Chance has been in our family for about 3 years now. We got him when Declan was 6 months old from an animal shelter. He is a runaway dog. He has to be on a leash or a chain to be outside because he thinks it's fun to run from you, and he thinks it's a game when you try to get him to come home. It is not a good combination. We deal with his little weird moments, you know, they are what makes him him. Chance is also very scared of thunder and rainstorms and loud noises and his own shadow, I'm sure. You know, what can he do? They can't all have a purpose, right? So the next animals on our list are our little bitty kittens, Peach and Daisy. We brought home Peach and Daisy about a month or two ago, and their purpose on our homestead is to be little mousers. So hopefully in the future they will catch all the mice and keep them at bay, but right now they're just catching bugs. We have sort of turned them into pets. I'm totally taking full responsibility for that. Me and Declan have turned our barn cats into pets. They stay inside at night, they go out in the day, but we love them and we enjoy having them here on our homestead. Okay, so generally people save the best animals for last, and I started with my favorite homestead animals, our rabbits. So does that mean I saved the worst for last? So our last homestead animals are our chickens. We no longer have meat chickens, we just have our layer chickens in their pen here, but they haven't started laying yet. So they do still serve a purpose for us here on our homestead. I throw the rabbit bedding, different garden waste products, different yard debris and everything in here and let them compost it for us, and then springtime next year I will come in and scoop out the top few layers and I will put that as compost on my garden. So they do still serve a purpose. They're our compost makers. Now our chickens are the only ones that we still buy food for here on our homestead other than the cat and dogs. They are not on a forage-based diet yet. I am working on it. I produce a lot of their own food, I just don't produce everything yet. So they get all of our kitchen scraps, they get different garden waste, and then they get their chicken feed on top of that. So hopefully next year my goal is to have them on an all forage diet as well. We'll see how it goes. These are actually probably the least pet animals on our homestead because I don't like chickens. I'm not a fan of them. I don't think they're very nice. I don't want to pet them. I don't want to hold them. I don't want to do anything with them. However, I do the chicken chores now in the morning. It's much easier when I don't have to pull them in a chicken tractor. I just go in and dump their feed, fill their waters, and then let them out for the day. Kenneth will close them up at night before he goes to bed, and we're all good. So that's all the animals we have here on our homestead. We have rabbits, goats, chickens, dogs, and cats. I do want more animals in the future. Next I'm hoping to get is a pig and then a milk cow after that in the future. The only things that are holding us up is because we are on a journey to self-sustainability. I need to know that I can produce the food for that animal before we can bring it home to our homestead. So that's why pigs are so far in the future and have not happened yet. I need my garden and my fruit production and my feed production and everything going much better before I bring a pig home to our homestead so that I know I can feed them from what we produce. Chickens will be next to get on all forage, all homestead production food wise, and then pigs after that. Hopefully after we get the pigs settled, we will have enough land cleared and pastures that are very well seeded with different kinds of grasses, and we can bring milk cows home, and then we will also use that milk to feed pigs and stuff in the future as well. So we all try to work together. We all try to have a purpose here on the homestead, and really the only pet we have that has no purpose is Chance, and his purpose is to bring joy into our lives. If you don't have joy, then you have what? So that's my list of pets or purpose. I look forward to seeing all of the other videos and what animals people have on their homestead and what they serve pets or purpose. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me today as I went around, fed the animals, and just kind of showed you everybody that we had and why we have them. It has been fun for me. I look forward to seeing you next time, friends. Until then, bye. I will see you later.